Okay, welcome to Car Sales 101. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the basics of car sales so that we can all be a little more successful out there. Where we're going to start is the steps of the sale. Okay, so the steps of the sale are the framework for our sales process. And the thing about having a process really with anything that you do is you can adjust the process, you can measure the results, and if it's something that works better, then you can keep it. If you don't have any type of process at all, you're just kind of making it up as you go. The problem with that is there's really no way to check what you're doing and see if there's a better way to do it. So we're going to review the steps to the sale today. And then there's some other training that we're going to do where we'll actually get into the steps themselves a little bit more specifically. So this will be more of just a rough overview. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first part of the sales process is, of course, the meet and greet. So what we want to do in the meet and greet is we want to find out who are they? Who are the people that we're talking to? Older people, younger people. Where are they from? Where do they live? What are their frames of reference? What types of things do they like to do? Maybe they have kids or grandkids that are into sports or anything like that. So what we want to do is we want to gather as much information as we can so we can start to build some common ground. Why are they here? Maybe we're just gathering information today. Maybe we're here to buy the car that we found online. I mean, there's so many things that can happen there. So we need to make sure why they're here and make sure that we're going to accomplish more for them than perhaps what they came out to do. And then we can take that information, we can figure out how can we help? Where do we fit into this equation? And my recommendation is find out whatever it is that they want to accomplish and then help them accomplish that, and even more, take it to the next step so that you really stand out in their minds too. So once we're done with our meet and greet, then we're going to move on to fact finding. So the thing about fact finding is it's really where you get a chance to dig in and really get to know this person who's in front of you. And I'm not really a fan of the word customer because it seems so disconnected to me. This person who is in front of you is an actual person, right? And they want to be treated in a specific way. They want, it's the golden rule, right? So fact finding is not it's not a grilling session, right? You don't have them under the 1,000-watt halogen lamp and you're just going to ask them question after question after question. Make it a conversation, right? So ask open-ended questions. These are the questions that are going to allow them to start talking, right? And when somebody's talking to you and you're listening and you're actually paying attention, it allows them to start to build that connection. So, pay attention to what their answers are and go even deeper. And we'll go into that into some of the other training. So determine what their needs are, right? Find out what it is that they're looking for. Is it a car? Is it a truck? Is it an SUV, 4-door, 2-door, something fast, something slow, whatever the case may be. But let's find out exactly what their needs are, and then we'll move on to find out what they want in addition to what their needs. But we need to make sure that we satisfy their needs. The last thing is find out how to work with them. So if you're working with somebody who's completely closed off, they've had a terrible experience in the past, right? So you're going to have to deal with that person a little bit differently than somebody who comes in and really enjoyed their last buying experience. Hopefully that buying experience was with us, but if it wasn't, so we need to find out how to work with them to be the most effective. Now, as part of the fact-finding process, when you're gathering this information, you really should be kind of building the car in your mind that you think is going to work really well for them. So whenever I make a selection, what I do, I actually pick 3 cars out. And then during our process, I'm going to go and I'm going to show them the first car, and we're going to kind of see what they think about that, right? And then take them to the second car, show them that, show them what makes it nicer. Like in this case, you might start with a S model, right? And then after you show them the S and they say, well, that's really nice, but I also need this and this. Okay, and then we might show them an SE. Even if they come in and they say, well, I need a sunroof and navigation and blah, 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 which basically is going to say, okay, well, they need the top of the line. I'm still going to show them the S, just so that you're building value along the way, and they can say, okay, well, this model is this much, and then a step up from there is going to be another couple $1,000s, and then a step up from there is going to be $3,000 or $4,000, whatever the case may be. But you're justifying the price differences with the features at that point. So and then once you've done that, then you go show them the SEL and show them why that one's going to really suit their needs. It's got the sunroof, it's got the navigation, it's got this, it's got that, it's got everything that they need. But they have to understand, hey, there's a price difference between where this model begins at and where it ends at. So that's a great way to build value in the car. So once you've made your selection, then we're going to go ahead and present the vehicle. So the first thing that you really have to keep in mind is you have to present the vehicle from their perspective. So, from our perspective, like me, I'm a performance guy, no question about it. Appearance is a big deal to me. But if I'm presenting to a single mom with 2 kids, how effective is it going to be for me to present from my perspective? It's really not. So, as part of the fact finding, you're finding out who they are. You need to present the vehicle from their perspective. Again, back to the fact finding, and it's really the most important step in the process. But when you present the vehicle, you want to hit on their dominant buying motives. So if safety is the biggest issue, when we're at the engine compartment, we're going to tell them about the safety features of the engine compartment. Somebody like me, you're going to tell me about the horsepower and the torque and how fast it goes from 0 to 60. But somebody whose dominant buying motive is safety or economy, it doesn't matter really necessarily how fast it's going to get you from point A to point B. The most important point is, how much is it going to cost me? Right, so keep that in mind when you're presenting the vehicle. Continue to present from their perspective. Now, when you're doing the vehicle presentation itself, you don't want to necessarily get into every little nook and cranny on the car. Presenting the car should take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, moving around the car, letting them interact with it and enjoy the vehicle itself and begin to build that bond. But if we do a 30 or 40 minute walk around on a car, you're just going to burn them out, right? And you're going to run out of their time, and they might think that you don't even care about their time, right? So that's a big deal. You keep it short, to the point. We live in an internet society. So what I mean by that is you can click from page to page to page to page to page on the internet and collect information on 4 or 5 different subjects, all in the span of 30 seconds. So if you're taking too long to present, like I am right now probably, if you're taking too long to present, you're just going to lose your audience anyway. So that's not going to do you any good either. So once you've presented the vehicle and you decide, yes, this is the car that we want to move forward on, we want to keep looking at it, take a deeper look at it, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go on a demo drive. So when you take the car out, you drive off the lot. Don't let the customer drive off the lot. They're sitting in a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car. They're not familiar with it. They're surrounded by other $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cars. It's a nervous situation. So you go ahead and drive it off the lot, drive it to an area where you can trade drivers, and take that time to do another small presentation of the car off the lot. Hit again on some of the finer points and some of the things that are really going to speak to what it is that they're looking for specifically. And it's a great, they call it cutting the car away from the herd, right? When you're out in the middle of a herd and you're surrounded by shiny things, it's hard to pay attention to any one thing. So this gives you a great opportunity to go ahead and really focus on the car, away from the lot, away from the other shiny objects, and really show how it's going to be beneficial to them. So point out the key features while you're actually driving. Oh, hey, this is how you work the power locks in the windows, the radio. When we get back, we'll pair your cell phone and we'll even make a phone call on it, right? Point out the key features, but by the same token, you don't want to talk the whole time. Be quiet, be respectful, let them enjoy the car, right? Point out, how low the in-cabin noise is, from the road. point out how great the stereo sounds, point out key features, but you don't want to inundate them with facts and figures where they're paying more attention to you than the experience that they're having of driving the car. Let them experience driving the car. Okay, so now when we get back from the test drive, if everything's going well, you might say something like, okay, well, go ahead and park in the sold lane. Now, even though we don't necessarily have a sold lane mapped out on the lot, it might just be a parking spot, but go ahead and mark it in the sold area. Go ahead and park it in the sold lane. And this is kind of a nice little trial close, and you're gonna find out either if they're planning on buying it, or if they're not completely against buying it, or if they're like, no, this isn't the car, I don't need to park in the sold lane because I'm not buying this one. Okay, great. Well, what was it about this car that you didn't like, or whatever the case may be, so you can continue with your process. But this will give you a pretty good idea of if this is the right car or not. Exactly to that point. And the next key here that you want to think about is again, if we're looking at the top of the line, this might be the right car, but it might not be the one that they want to buy. Maybe the color's wrong. Maybe they want one with a little bit less features or a little bit more features. I know engines and transmissions tend to stay pretty similar throughout car lines today. So we need to find out if this is the one that they're going to actually drive home and put in their driveway. Okay, so the fun part now, we found the car, we drove it, they love it. Now we have to figure out how to sell it to them. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do some negotiation. And this is not difficult, right? This is where a lot of people, I think, get hung up, and they're kind of afraid of the numbers. Numbers are just numbers, man. It's not a big deal. If they like the car, the numbers are gonna work out anyway. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna present the buying options. So in a lot of cases, we'll present a lease along with a purchase, especially, if it's a new car. And we're going to talk about the payments, and we're going to get an idea of where they stand, down payment and monthly payment, unless they're paying cash, right? Then we'll focus on the price. But there's a few different ways to buy a car today. Maybe you go more term, you less term, whatever the case may be, but we're going to present kind of everything at the same time. These are the different ways that you can go, which is going to be the best one for you. Reinforce a good decision. So like if they're driving a car now that's 10 years old, it's got, it's going to start having problems, whatever the case may be, bring that up. When you're doing your fact finding and you say, well, what is it about your car that you don't like anymore? And they say, well, it's too expensive, it's got too many miles, it's got blah, 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 whatever those things are, point those out again and say, this is going to work out even better for you because of X, whatever it is, right? Or if they need more people than they have now. Hone in back on what those buying motives are, and reinforce a good decision. Reinforce that one of those options is going to work for them. And then overcoming objections. So sometimes somebody won't even necessarily tell you what the actual objection is. So we have to identify objections so that we can. And I don't like overcoming, I like resolving. So figure out what those objections are, get those resolved, and get your car sold. Okay, so we're gonna kind of skip the finance part, right? Because you all know how to get miles and driver's license, insurance, all that stuff. So we're gonna move right past finance and right into the delivery. So the delivery, I have to tell you, is just as important as any other step in the process. Because if you go out and you give them the keys and say, okay, great, thanks for coming in, here's your car, get out, and they don't really understand how to press all the buttons, their phone isn't paired, they're gonna go home and be more annoyed than satisfied. And what we're looking for is complete satisfaction. So this is, and really to that point, this is the last chance for you to leave a great impression. Now, something that happened just a couple weeks ago was we had a guy came in, he bought a car, we made a great impression. He brought his daughter back a couple days later and bought another car. And then one of his friends came in a couple days later and bought another car. So there was 3 cars that were sold, all within a week, all that started with one customer. But if you don't leave that great impression with that person, it's going to be negativity out there instead of the positivity that it was. Make sure that there's no questions before they leave. Any questions that are still there after they leave, hopefully you can head them off with a follow-up phone call, being proactive and making sure that all those questions are answered. But before they leave, make them tell you, no, I don't have any more questions. I understand how to work everything, 2 or 3 times, just so that they know that we do actually care and we're not just trying to get in their wallets. This is funny. So if you asked 100 customers when they were done buying their car and they're driving it home, what was your salesperson's name? And I will tell you, probably half and maybe more didn't even remember what their salesperson's name was, because you end up getting kind of swept into the process, and it's easy to forget names. It's not as important as other things in the buying process. So make sure that they remember what your name is, and let them know, hey, I'm going to call you tonight, I'm going to check in, I'm going to call you a couple days after that, and we're just going to make sure that you're completely satisfied with your vehicle purchase. Okay, so this is where we build our business. So if you come into work every single day to find somebody brand new that walks in off the street to sell a car to, you're probably not going to do as well in your career as you could if you're looking to build a career and actually make great money. I know people that make 100,000 plus a year in this business, and this is where they do it. They don't make all of their money going out and chasing ups on the lot. They don't make their money looking for that guy that we can sell today. What they do is they do continuous follow-up with their customer base to make sure that their customers know who they are, know who to send somebody to if they're looking for a car, and they're constantly looking for new business. So follow-up is a huge deal. Now, after I sell a car, I'm going to call those people that night. If we sell it at 9 o'clock at night, I'm obviously not calling them at 11. But if we sell a car, before 5 o'clock, then yes, I'm definitely going to call them by 7 and say, hey, how did you make it home? Did you have any questions? Did you notice anything that you weren't quite familiar with? Answer all those questions right off the bat. After that, you're gonna call again, every couple days for probably that first week. Hey, it's Aaron again, just checking in, trying to make sure that everything's great. Are you super happy? Yes, I am. Awesome. And then once you get through that first week or so, call them every single month. Call them at the beginning of the month, call them at the middle of the month or the ending of the month. It doesn't matter, but call everybody once a month, right? Because you never know what's happening at home. Well, a light came on the car and I'm not exactly sure what it is. Great, explain it to me. I need to get an oil change done. Can you help me with that? Absolutely. Any of those little things that come up, they really make you not just a salesperson. Now you're an advocate. Now you're my guy, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what you're looking to be. So beside this video, there's going to be some other videos, and you'll notice them by the layout of the PowerPoint on the screen here. We're going to actually dig down deeper into each step in the process itself and kind of expand on it. But now you have kind of a general overview of what to expect, in the sales process itself. All right.